What is up, everybody? Welcome to That Wannabe Film Class, the show where normally we talk about movies. Today, we aren't going to be talking for that long, and we aren't going to be talking about movies. I am joined by my co-host, Chloe Naylor. Chloe, how are you doing in the current world landscape?
We're living.
Yeah.
Wouldn't say vibing and thriving. That's not the mood anymore. No.
For those listening, presumably you know this if you're listening anytime soon. And if you're not listening anytime soon, why are you listening to this podcast episode? But we are currently in the midst of a mass nationwide and partially worldwide protest for Black Lives Matter because just like racial or racist policy has been systemic throughout America for its entire existence. And it is all coalesced around the murder of George Floyd at the hands of one police officer specifically who did it, and then 3 other police officers who were there who did nothing to stop it. That one police officer who committed it has been arrested and charged with 3rd-degree murder, which is a questionable choice of murder.
Just a bit,
charges. Yeah, like I've seen the argument that it might be because in our current landscape, it is easier to charge him with, like it is easier to convict him on 3rd degree than on 1st degree.
Okay.
I partially understand that reasoning because I have seen a lot of cops get away with convictions on technicalities. And I also feel like because I've seen so many cops get away with short sentences for things that they've done, I'm still also uncomfortable with that. But I can't really speak to it in terms of opinion. And neither can you, obviously, because we are both white and this is not our issue to speak on. But yeah, I feel wrong talking about and joking about a movie.
Seems just a little tone deaf to do that and release that.
Tone deaf for sure.
Yeah.
I'm also not sure I'm like capable of it.
Same. I don't know how well I can make dumb jokes right now. That just kind of also feels wrong to do. So. And
like, we've talked about how much time it takes us to make these, both in recording and like watching the movie, and for me researching and editing. And I think there's much better uses of our time in the world right now than producing jokey movie content.
Right. Like instead of watching a movie, I can be watching the news and staying updated on Twitter.
Yeah.
Exactly. So.
And like, not to say like, yeah. There's better things to be doing.
Right.
So for our audience, if in case you aren't up on the news of what's happening, I figure we'll briefly just kind of go over like what we know is going on, what resources are available to support the Black Lives Matter movement, and then we'll sign off, and that'll be it. This is a weird, unstructured podcast that we're doing right here.
Yeah. Last time we had one of these is when we were on vacation and forgot our microphones.
It is. And even then we were able to like jokingly vibe for 10 minutes. I just talked to you like it was a normal like hangout session. I was like, so what are we up to? Like, this is what's going on. And it's like,
yeah,
that's not really the case now. People are being tear gassed and maced across the country by police brutality. Riots are breaking out and being blamed on protesters, despite there being a systemic evidence of police inciting the violence that leads to these riots, as well as just like white nationalists and other white people that have stoked the flames of like extreme violence. If you are a white person listening to this, or even just if you're not Black, frankly, listening to this, your position, especially as a white person, your position is not to loot or to riot. Your position is to get between Black protesters and the police, because the police are most likely to treat you better.
Right.
Do not make this situation more extreme than it already is. That is not your place.
use your white privilege to your and everyone else's advantage.
Yeah. Donate. I know, Chloe, you did a Twitch stream yesterday from when we are recording this, a few days ago from when this will release, where you were donating your tips to Black Lives Matter.
Yeah, it did.
Nice.
So,
proud
rounded
of you.
that up, added a little tip to that, and donated that. So
awesome.
Yeah.
Doing and yeah, there's tons of great charities that people can be donating to if they are looking to do that right now, and they should be. We have the George Floyd Memorial Fund, which is the fund to support George Floyd's family after his murder. We have Reclaim the Block, which is a Black Lives Matter based movement to support Black lives, obviously. We have Black Lives Matter itself, which is what we were just talking about. There's the National Bailout, which I'm assuming based off of its name is to help bail people out nationally, because a fun flaw of our current legal system is that when you're arrested, to get out, you need to put up money, but not everyone has money.
Mm-hmm.
And what we're seeing with the protests right now is just a large scale amount of arrests. I believe it's in the thousands at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's also the Bail Project. There's the Black Visions Collective. There's Campaign Zero. Campaign Zero fights police brutality and just fights the level of funding that the police currently have. Its objective is to demilitarize the police and promote de-escalation practices within the police force, along with other things. They're really good. You should check them out if you haven't already. There's the National Bail Fund Network. Again, it's pretty explainable. The Innocence Project, which is a organization that seeks to prove the innocence of, I believe it's the way I know the Innocence Project is through, if you are convicted, they seek to like prove your innocence. I'm not sure if they have any programs for people who are like currently in the process of being convicted for something. I don't know, but look into it. And then there's Justice for Brianna, another woman who was murdered at the hands of police in her home recently. And then there's countless others. There's tons of local bail funds. There's tons of other organizations. It's really hard to keep track of how many places we can be donating right now.
Right. There's a lot of good hubs though, where you can just kind of go like do Google Docs and scroll through, find like your local city or whatever.
I've seen some links that also like you donate a certain amount of money and then it just splits that among various bail funds, among various Black support organizations. For me, I've donated to Black Lives Matter and to the Minnesota Freedom Fund. The Minnesota Freedom Fund has said they don't need any more money. So if you are thinking of donating, please do not donate to them. Donate to one of the charities they've recommended. They recommended Reclaim the Block, and they recommended Black Visions Collective. Also, North Star Health Collective is a good one. They provide medical aid to protesters. Any I'm not thinking of, Chloe? Any on top of your head?
No, I think you named all of those. And if you don't have the money to donate, there's plenty of petitions and things you can sign.
Absolutely. There's also a YouTube video that I saw that I'll link in this. But basically what the YouTube video is a bunch of ads interspersed between audio and video about Black lives and the movement and just, supporting Black people. But like the big focus of it is watch the video, don't skip the ads, and then all of the AdSense money that the video gets will be going towards donations to help these kind of organizations. So that's a really great way to help, even if you don't have the money. Also, if you do have the money and want to buy something and it's not next Monday, next Tuesday, so June 9th, I have put up things for auction on the eBays, and all of those auctions, a lot of them are like nerdy things. I have the Quentin Tarantino 8 movie box collection. I have a Spirit hood, which I don't remember why I ever bought, but I have it.
Okay.
I have a menu autographed by Jerry Rice, the football player. So it's just an assortment of things and some Funko Pops and other random shit. But all the proceeds will go towards one of 3 charities. Unfortunately, I couldn't give it to Black Lives Matter specifically because they're not listed on eBay's charity lists. Don't know why. Don't know what eBay system is. But there were a lot of there are a lot of like the big charities we're looking at right now, like Campaign Zero and Black Visions Collective, that weren't there. But it does have the ACLU, which is a great legal organization. So some of the auctions will be going towards that. Some will go towards the Bail Project that we've already mentioned. And then some will go towards the National Police Accountability Project. And those are that.
Very nice.
Chloe, is there anything you have seen that you want to promote, people do, people look into, people try?
If we just spouted a whole lot of links to you and you can't remember all of them, go to blacklivesmatters.card2rs.co, and it's a nice hub, whole bunch of links to petitions to sign, places to donate, and if you just want to read up on just to be educated, it's a good place to go.
Have you found any interesting things to like read since this all started?
I've seen plenty of recommendations. I don't remember any of them off the top of my head, but a lot of good like books and articles to read.
Yeah, I've opened like a million articles and have failed at reading most of them. But I've read Malcolm X's speech from, when Malcolm X lived. And it is, and a few other speeches, and it is alarming to my like white privileged sensibilities that like I grew up, I don't know about you, but I grew up with this sense of like, oh, like if only Martin Luther King was alive now, he would see how much better it's become. Like here I am sitting in like a classroom hanging out with my friends of like different races and stuff. And I mean, like, yeah, segregation ended and that was good, but just looking through these speeches and the things that they talked about back then, it's not that different from what we are seeing now. Not much has really changed.
Unfortunately, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, if people want also more information, I have a 40 ways you can help right now posted on my Instagram. You can find that at Mr. Bento Box. It lists a bunch of the organizations I just talked about. It also lists organizations you can follow, numbers you can call and text to fight for justice, petitions to sign, other things that are going on. And one book I've started that I bought that I'm reading is How to Be an Anti-Racist. And I'm like 100 pages into that, and it's very good and interesting. And it's one of the ones I've seen recommended a bunch. So, and it's from a Black perspective. I know that like White Fragility is a book I've seen going around a lot, and it doesn't sound like that's a bad choice, but it is, bear in mind, written by a white man. So you're getting, don't limit your education to a white person's perspective on white privilege and racism, despite it seemingly being a valid perspective. Like the writer of that book is even quoted on the back of How to Be an Anti-Racist. So clearly he's not disliked, I assume, by the author of this book.
Okay. All right. That's good.
Yeah. Is there anything else to say, do you feel like, Chloe?
I think we covered the basics.
Yeah, like
sign the petitions, use your white privilege, you have it, to amplify Black voices, go to protests if you can. All that.
Yeah, absolutely. If you can't go to protest, there's also other ways you can help in the protest movement right now. So I'm just going to list off a few of those. One, you can listen to police scanners, which you can access via the internet, from what I've been told. So if you want to like just kind of keep track of what the police are doing and saying, because there has been a lot of coordinated efforts by the police to, harass and snuff out and arrest people, you can follow those and try and keep either your friends or just like the internet as a large updated. I'm not sure if just tweeting police movements is the best idea. So maybe look into whether or not, look into what the best procedures are for this, but just ways to get that out there and to keep an eye out. Because I know, like, for me, I can't go to protests because my dad is sick and coronavirus is still a thing. So it's very helpful to see more and more ways to provide support from the safety of my home. There's also, if people end up getting arrested, I know that some people have been like writing phone numbers on their skin and like permanent marker and stuff, so that anyone who, I'm not entirely clear on the reasoning here, but basically like someone can call those numbers if they need to, if that person's maybe like incapacitated or something. And that has happened. I know people have been shot by countless rubber bullets. People have lost eyes. People have died. So if you want to like provide support by saying, hey, you know, if anyone wants to write my phone number down and maybe you can get the information of the people who do that, like their date of birth, stuff like that. That's important. Emergency contacts, medications, stuff like that. You can provide rides. I know, like, again, for me, providing rides kind of defeats the whole purpose of I can't go to the protest because COVID. But if your reason for not being able to go is a different one, that's something you can do. You can do supply runs. I think that's probably a good one. You can get water. You can get snacks. You can get clean face masks, stuff like that. Duct tape. You can make signs. You can even better make signs that double as shields. If you do that, get a sign that is a 3/8 inch thick acrylic or thicker, because 3/16 inch or thinner will shatter, according to what I've heard. Yeah. Listen to Black voices. That's the big one. Like Chloe and I are sitting here and we're talking about these things and we're trying to focus on, at least I think we're focusing on, you know, basic informational stuff that we've seen. But at the end of the day, we are not looking at this from a Black perspective. Our voices are only good at the moment amplifying the messages of the movement, but the voices that really matter are Black voices. So
exactly.
Yeah. If you guys do go to protests, be safe out there. If you need someone if you need a phone number you can write down on your arm or something, or if you just need someone to be in contact with while you're at the protest, so that if you go missing and like you're not responding, someone can be aware that's happened, feel free to reach out to me via Twitter or Instagram. I'm usually terrible at checking my suggested DMs on Twitter, but I'll try and be good at it. I'm assuming it's harder for you because a lot of simps jump into your DMs.
Yeah. So
yeah.
Hit up Ben.
Yeah, hit up me.
Yeah.
Both because she is swarmed and also because she has less reason to trust you. Not less reason, I guess, but like you have more evidence of men just being gross with you.
Right.
People aren't gross with me.
That's true.
I have the male privilege and the white privilege. It's a whole thing.
Wow, look at you go.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the majority of it. We don't really know what our plan is for the rest of this, do we?
We don't. We'll keep you updated, but as far as we know, we don't know what we're doing.
Yeah.
So
we know this month is supposed to be about adaptation. This episode is supposed to be about Gone Girl. I think we can probably say with certainty that adaptation is not going to be the focus of this month if we do continue with it. I'm currently in talks with some friends from the Black community who we could bring on to talk about Fruitvale Station, because that is a movie about police brutality and death at the hands of police for a Black man. So I'm currently going to have Prince of Nightlight, the Nightlight podcast, the horror podcast, and he and I will be talking about that. I'm looking to get more Black voices to come on, so look out to see if there's more. Hopefully we were able to get more, but basically we'll just be talking about that, about police brutality and about how it's represented in media and about how it's represented. Honestly, I don't really know what we're going to be talking about. I'm kind of leaving that up to Prince and to whoever else we bring on. I don't want that to be really like a me discussion any more than it needs to be, as the person who just like makes sure the podcast moves. And then, like, I know in terms of you are the joke girl, and that's not super effective in a deep, important conversation on race relations. So that'll just be me. In terms of like me and Chloe, it'll just be me, and then whatever guest we bring on alongside Prince. And so that'll be coming out next week at the usual podcast time, unless something comes up, which you never know at this point.
That's true.
But what happens after that, we aren't sure. But until then, Black Lives Matter. do what you can. If you are someone who experiences white privilege, use that to the best of your ability. And if you are going to protest, or even if you're just living in this country black, you know, be safe.
Stay safe. Exactly. So there is still a pandemic happening too.
There's also that.
You kind of forget that's happening, but yeah.
Yeah, honestly, it's weird because I feel like I'm still worried about it because, again, like, there's my dad and everything, but it's definitely this jarring shift of me being like, oh man, this pandemic's like so bad. This is like the worst. Mm-hmm. Like, we're living through a crazy time, and now I'm just like barely thinking about it, which isn't to say that it's not something to be thought about or like care about.
Still take precautions, yeah.
Yeah. I was driving down the coast of San Diego, like for anyone who knows San Diego, I was driving between Oceanside and Encinitas. And I did that to relax. And also because I was going to go pick up the book that I wanted, the How to Be an Anti-Racist book from Barnes & Noble. And I was like, it's on the way. So I was driving down the coast. I was like, this will be relaxing. You know, I love driving on the coast. It's like my favorite thing to do. Mm-hmm. It was not relaxing because the coast is full of coastal villages with, like, you know, places to eat. And those places were full of idiots, just tons of people without masks on. Some people with masks on, lots of people without masks on.
God.
Yeah. So that was infuriating. So,
wonderful.
You know, this protest matters. The message matters. But also, you know, bear in mind, coronavirus is still happening. Wear a mask. Mm-hmm. Don't go out for other reasons.
Yeah.
Unless it's like food. And I don't mean like eating food. I mean like to get groceries or like get takeout. Be safe. This is a weird time.
It's a very weird time.